Welcome back, pipe smokers. My order from Smoking Pipes came in. Got some pipe cleaners and some tapered, bristled pipe cleaners. You can never have enough of this stuff. I'm sure you guys have this problem too. I go through these like crazy. I clean my pipe with one of these every time, and of course I use one of these to get the moisture out of the pipe, and I go through them pretty quickly. In a lot of places in Europe, Eastern Europe, it's really hit and miss. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. So I always like to have a large supply on hand. So happy that this arrived from Smoking Pipes today. The topic of today's video is I want to speak about 3 tobaccos that I think you shouldn't ignore, that you should be adding to your cellar, or at least consider adding to your cellar. There's so much out there. We're very blessed at this moment to have a lot of selection of pipe tobaccos. Heaven knows what will happen in the future. That's a debate for another time. But here's 3 I don't think you should ignore and that you should seriously consider adding to your rotation, your cellar, or in the future, okay? And the first one I want to talk about, it might be a little bit of a difficult one, is HH Virginia, Pure Virginia by McBaron. Of course, I have 2 tins of it here, of a 100-gram tin from September 2021, and I got a 50-gram tin from September 2022. I got these when I came back to Canada from Ukraine. At that time, I don't know that they were talking. No, I don't think they were. The talk was that these were going away. I just happened to get them. And I know they're hard to get. They're becoming hard to get. I don't really follow these things. Once they disappear off the market, I don't go chasing it. I mean, if I walk into a tobacco shop and they have it, absolutely I'll buy it. But I don't go chasing and buying 40 tins. There's just other tobaccos out there. If you can get this, this is a terrific straight Virginia. Excellent tobacco. Perfect for aging, but even just fresh out of the tin, it's really quite lovely. I think it's better with at least 2 years of age on it, but really great tobacco. Now, as I said, you might only be able to get this on a secondary market. I would pay a little bit extra, but nothing crazy to get this, because there are other tobaccos on the market that I think are just as good. For example, one of my favorites is Peterson Flake, formerly Dunhill Flake. I have a Ukrainian buddy who's been a pipe smoker a lot longer than me. I told him how much I like this tobacco, and he said that to him it tasted a little thin compared to what the Dunhill offering was. But I don't always, I appreciate and respect old codgers. I just don't always trust that that's true. To me, this tastes excellent. I had the Dunhill Flake years ago. It's hard for me to remember and compare, but I really like this tobacco. And I think, although I do prefer the Pure Virginia, if you can't get Pure Virginia, go get the Peterson Flake. This is readily available. It's not going to cost you, secondary market prices. Excellent tobacco to age. It says on the back, Brown Virginia pipe tobacco. I have 2 of these from 2022. I'll be leaving these behind to age. But if you can't get HH Pure Virginia, don't sweat it, man. This is a great tobacco. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. And I wouldn't lament too much the loss of Pure Virginia. Another one, if you're new to pipe smoking and you've never heard of this, although I think you probably have, is Orlik Golden Slice. This is a straight Virginia, although it does say, I've been told on their website, that that there's perique in it. I don't really taste any perique in this. I think it's just the spiciness from the tobacco that's coming out. But this is a good option too. However, I do think this is the weak sister. For all those who like Orlik Golden Slice, with all due respect, forgive me for saying that, I do think it's the weak sister. I would rather have the Peterson Flake over Orlik Golden Slice. But if you're still able to, I do think, try to get your hands on this. This is really good stuff, okay? All right, let's move on to another tobacco that I think you shouldn't ignore on the pipe tobacco market. Now, you guys know I've sung the praises of Salani 633 many, many times. It's in my top 10 favorite pipe tobacco of all time list. Salani is an excellent pipe tobacco maker. And I think there's one that people overlook, and that's their English Luxury Mixture by Salani. It's blend number 779. I've had a couple of tins of this. In fact, I recently opened one when I was in Ukraine, and I had forgotten how good it is. Now, truth be told, if I could trade these for these, I would. I'd rather have the Virginia Perique, but this is an excellent, solid, classy English tobacco. I got 2 tins here you can see, from the summer of 2017. I don't think this one gets as much praise as it should. I think people often overlook this one. Now, the Salani blends typically are a little bit more expensive than most other blends, but the quality is there. You are getting your money's worth. I will stand by that. Anybody who disagrees, with all due respect, I respect your opinion, but I would disagree. I think this is worth the extra money. Any Salani, the English, the 633 and the Burley Flake, not a Burley guy, but enough people love it that I'm sold. It's a quality blend. But I think this one is kind of like the forgotten sister in the Salani market, and I think you should really consider adding this one to it. I think it's just as good as Early Morning Pipe or Chelsea Morning. At least it approaches it. So if you're thinking about trying a new English, something you haven't tried before, I would recommend you add that to your cellar. You don't hear a lot of people talking about this tobacco, and it's a shame. It really is a high quality tobacco, and I smoked a lot of it over the years, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't get as much focus as many other Englishes. Okay, I want to talk about one more. It's just going to be a short video today. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This has been an old friend to me. This is Ratrays Old Gallery. I'm a big Ratrays guy. I love Marlin Flake. You saw that in my top 10. Big fan of Howl of the Wind. I just finished a 100-gram tin of this when I was traveling in Georgia, the country, and North Macedonia. Loved it. Old Gallery is very similar to Howl of the Wind. It says on the bottom here, rich red Virginia flake, ready rubbed. What it's not telling you is, in my opinion, this is Howl of the Wind with more Kentucky in it. This is a great tobacco, and it's easy to find. Not always easy to get the 100-gram tins, but the 50-gram tins are ubiquitous. When I used to live in Ukraine, I could get them everywhere in the city. Since the war began, not so much, but I was recently in Krakow, and they had the entire Ratrays line right there for sale. The Old Gallery, Howl of the Wind, Marlin Flake, and others that I've never even heard before. This has got a cult following. I don't think I'm breaking any new ground by talking about how great Old Gallery is. You go on the YTPC, you will find some pipe smokers who swear by Old Gallery. This is a regular in their rotation. They think this is the top tobacco in the line. I'm not going to argue with them. I think it's a great tobacco as well. I don't think it's overlooked. I wouldn't go so far as say it's overlooked. I think it's underappreciated, if you catch my drift. Old Gallery is solid. It's easy to get. In a world of pipe tobaccos where things are disappearing, you don't have to chase. There's quality out there, right? There's quality out there. You don't have to chase these mystery blends. When you have all these terrific tobaccos right at your fingertips, and I think these three, I wouldn't go as far as to say they're underappreciated, but I think people don't focus on them enough and how lucky we are to have these tobaccos. Instead, they're out chasing the overrated Margates and the, what I consider to be, just overpriced tobaccos that are out there on the secondary market. I think it's crazy. When you can get something so lovely as Old Gallery or Howl of the Wind or Marlin Flake, something like this. So if you've never tried Old Gallery, I would highly recommend it to you. And if you don't believe me, watch the comment section, because the Old Gallery fans are going to come out. I know. I've been on the YTPC for 10 years. It has a cult following, guys. This tobacco will not be ignored by those who smoke it. I've learned this myself, and that's why it's always been in my cellar, and I've smoked it and appreciated it over the years. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Just a quick video. I think I have maybe one more coming up before I hop on a plane and go to Skopje next week. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.